entering the studios of Creative Conversations with Dr. C. You are entering the studios of Creative Conversations with Dr. C.
Welcome to the conversation.
Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another edition of Creative Conversations with Dr. C. I am Dr. C. I am so excited. It is Thursday, another edition of talking to some beautiful people about these love letters that we've been talking about for the last 3-4 weeks. I am so excited about my guests that are going to be on tonight. Another edition of some beautiful, beautiful women, beautiful spirits. We have Miss Shartia Love Jones is one of our guests, as well as Torrie Q Jones. The Jones sisters are in the house tonight, y'all. Can you believe it? I got 2 Jones sisters. Is that something? And so I am so excited about tonight's conversation. I had the opportunity to meet this beautiful woman, Shartia. I believe the first time I met her was, if I'm not mistaken, we will clarify when she comes on. I believe I met her at the She's gala, I believe. If not, it might have been in DC, but we're going to verify that in a few minutes. Again, tonight is another edition of us talking about our love letters, the love letters that is important that we talk about. And Miss Shartia was one of the authors in this anthology. So I'm so grateful that she said yes to my invitation. And I tell you, she has such a beautiful, beautiful love letter. And as you say, Shartia love. So obviously she is talking about some love stuff in this love letter. So I'm so grateful that she decided to come on and give us her view and why she decided to take on this invitation of doing a love letter in this chronicle. Another movement. I always say it's a movement. It's definitely a movement. In this time and age, we have to make sure that we're pulling together, and it's also making sure that we love one another. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Miss Shartia Love Jones so that she can express her love for her love letter. Hello, beautiful. How are you? Hey, darling. Hey, gorgeous.
Hey, gorgeous.
Oh my goodness. Look, you're so beautiful. How are you? You doing good?
I am doing well. I am blessed. I will say that.
Of course. I think we all are blessed.
Yes.
Like I was expressing to the audience a little while ago. Look, I'm frazzled. I was running in here on 2 wheels trying to get to this interview.
I love that helmet, honey.
This helmet, oh girl, this helmet is terrible, but I ain't gonna worry about it. It's gonna do what it's due tonight, right? But I was just telling the audience that I had the opportunity to meet you. I want to say at the gala, at She's Gala, but then I don't know. Was it at DC? Was it at in DC? No, at Rhonda's. I can't remember where we met.
I've been to 3 galas, so. I think it depends on because I crossed those up too, because I know we see at the gala and then we're in DC right away.
In DC. So well, I know the last time we saw Joe was DC.
For sure. I think we met at the gala, but I think we engaged more in DC. I think that's why. You know what I mean?
I think that was an interesting time for us in DC. I mean, if people knew, we were packing up some stuff. I mean, we were sitting on suitcases and packing down stuff the year before. So it was an interesting first time meeting. And if you were there, you'll understand what I'm saying, sitting on suitcases and trying to get to the airport on time. So that's what we do as family though, right? No other way to do it. Hello.
You all saved me. You all saved me. I'm headed to the airport trying to put all this stuff in my luggage. It was not going. It was not fitting. It was
Yeah.
not happening. And, that was one of the trips that I learned how to actually pack, how much to actually bring as an author. It was a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
However, you and Elogia, like, I appreciate y'all because y'all were like, listen, that's not going to work. You go ahead and do what you're doing over there. We're going to just unpack and repack.
Yes.
And they had
Yes.
my back. They had my bag turned upside down in the middle of, oh, y'all.
It was a good upside down deal, right? And then we had the opportunity
We
to
have
meet
had
this year.
yes,
Yeah. This year we had the opportunity to sit down and talk in DC with Rhonda Lawson. Had the opportunity to do some fellowshipping and talking, and that's where we talked about this love letter, which we talked about it the year before, but this year we had the opportunity to really sit down and talk about what this movement
mhm,
looked like, and and really wanting you to be in it because you're Shartia Love Jones. And so I said I could not pass up the opportunity to put Love Jones in this love letter chronicle. And so
thank
I
you.
was so grateful that you decided to say yes. And I've said it as as far back as last year about the importance of being able to affirm ourselves, to love ourselves. We all are
Yes,
going through so much, especially now in
yes,
this time and day and age, with the
yes,
administration, with not knowing if we're going to have a place to lay our heads, whether or not we're going to have a job. And so this is the
yes,
time that we need to really pull together and love on one another. And so I was so grateful that you said yes to this invitation. And we've had conversations over a few weeks about,
yes,
the final product of your love letter. And I'm so grateful that you were persistent about, and I always said, I always tell all the authors that are in this book, I want your voice to be heard. The voice is not me. It's your voice. And I
yes,
wanted to make sure that it was authentic, that it was speaking from your heart, from Miss Shartia's heart. And so when I read, I've said it since the first actual conversation started with Royce back in April. And every
okay,
time I still have the opportunity to continue to read these stories and these love letters, because we're all in different spaces right now. Everybody is not in the same lane in their trauma, or they're coming out of trauma, going into trauma, coming back out of trauma. All those things are different for
right,
us. And so I'm so grateful, like I said, for all of the authors that decided to put pen to paper. This is something that is near and dear to me, and I get emotional about it because where we're going and what we're seeing. Just about 45 minutes ago, I was reading some stuff, and I was like, my goodness, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna, navigate this? And so I think now is the best time to have had these love letters printed and
mhm,
published. And actually, it has gone to publishing, and we should be seeing the first of the pre-orders coming soon in the next week. So next Monday, we'll start doing pre-orders for these books. But I'm going to stop talking about me. I want people to know who Shartia Love Jones is. I know you're a phenomenal Black woman, and I want the world to know who you are. And tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell the audience why you decided to do this love letter. Shartia, can you hear me?
sure. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Did you hear my question?
Okay. Yes, you want me to tell people a little bit about me.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So, one is I am a busy person. So I'm actually parked at the lake. So if I go in and out a little bit, let me know. If I have to hurry and get somewhere else, I will. But I'm actually at the place that I do a lot of my writing. So it was kind of perfect for me. I do a lot of my writing here at the water. It gives me a lot of peace. I'm able to see the water. Sometimes I need to kind of rejuvenate myself if I'm having like a block and I need to kind of refresh myself. I am a motivational speaker, published author, educator by heart. And I have always been a person that has wanted to feel love, and I didn't always feel love. I didn't always receive love, but I've always wanted to give it. And so when the opportunity came up for me to write in this book, it meant so much to me. And I was having such a hard time squeezing what I feel about love into this jar, so to speak. I don't want to say a bottle. I want to say like a jar of like, okay, what do you feel like this is? And I just really wanted to make sure to speak to the person that was reading the book. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to edify the person because since I know what it's like to not receive love, and y'all can see the sun setting over here. Y'all see about the water.
That's so
um,
beautiful.
you can see because I can feel what it feels like to not be loved. I wanted to go back into that space and not to bring up, horrible memories or to bring up any pain. But what I wanted to do was go into that space because I remember what it felt like when I didn't love myself and the different things and spaces that I've been in, and it causes you to not make the best decisions. So if I could
Mhm.
change anything or help anyone, it is in that space where you feel like you want love, but you don't have love. So what can you do in this space? And that
Mhm.
is so important because until you take the time to actually really love on you, it doesn't matter who loves you. The
Mhm.
different things that you embody, experience, the different moods, your disposition, what you put out will most likely be unhealthy because you aren't healthy within because you don't know what that means to love yourself. So,
Mhm.
my question to people is usually if you don't love yourself, how do you really know how to ask someone else to love you or be frustrated if you think they're not loving you, but do you even know what that is?
Right.
And I just kind of dive deep into it being more than a cliche, because people
Mhm.
like to say that as a cliche, oh, I love me, I love me. I remember when I said it and I didn't love me. So,
Right.
what does that really mean? And so, this
Right.
was really meaningful to me. The name of my company is the Love Jones Alliance. And so, I just believe in all things love. It's my superpower. It's been my superpower forever because it's the thing that kept me going when I didn't even know physically how to keep moving.
Yeah.
But love saved me. The love of God saved me. God's love,
Mhm.
knowing that, God is within me, that He will never leave me or forsake me, so that is love. And
Right.
so I had to figure that out.
Yeah, and I think what you said is so poignant because we do say that so easily. I love me, but really, what does that really mean, and how does that show up each and every day in your walk, right? And so
Yes.
I remember when I first did the first love letter, and that was about 2 years ago. I did a love letter to me. I did my own love letter, and I realized that I had so many things that I needed to uncover and dig deep in a core who I was
Mhm.
to understand what love meant for me and what, because love is different. It comes in different forms for different people for different reasons.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
had to dig very, very deep in understanding what that meant for me. I had some packed down, deep down core
Mhm.
stuff that I needed to really take ownership for me, because sometimes we always blame everybody else, but where do you fit into that whole scenario? Where's the
Exactly.
responsibility for you? So I had to dig
Yes.
a little bit deeper. I always tell people it's like you like an onion. You have to dig deep and pull back those layers to really get to the core of who you are and what you want to represent and what it means for you. And so when I
Mhm.
did that, when I realized how much joy I felt, because it was just a release.
Yes.
It was a release,
Yes.
and it like 1,000 pounds came off my shoulders. And then I can really understand how to love not just myself, but love my children a different way,
Mm.
love the people around me a different way. But don't get it mistaken. Days come where I'd be like, "Ooh, wow, that's exhausting,
Honey.
right?" But
Honey. It's
it's
work.
exhausting. It's a lot of work. It's
It's
like
real work.
therapy. It's real
It's
work. And
real
I
work.
tell people therapy is a must. I am a big push for therapy. I've done it. I love it. And I
Me
tell people to
too.
do it too.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have to really invest in you. it's only one you, right? And if you get the opportunity to die and come again like I have,
Mm,
and get the opportunity to see what it is,
mm.
then you make a different approach to a lot of things in your life. The little things
Yes,
that the big things that you think are really big are really, really not really big, right?
they're
And we just
not.
focus on what's important. And right now, focusing is on me, because when
Yes,
I focus on me and I do better for me, then everybody connected to me are going to get the blessings. So
yes.
I realized that once I did that book, and then I came and did the second book, which was last
Hmm.
year, and I mentioned it to uh Shanitha last week, that
Hmm.
this book is still hitting people in Australia,
Wow.
globally. And so I'm invested in this movement. I'm invested in making sure people have the ability to really love on themselves. And it's okay to love on yourself. It's okay to, but be honest about
Yes,
it.
yes,
Being
yes.
honest
It is
about it is so
perfectly okay.
important. Right. And so
Yep.
when you say it, I used to say I love myself, but really, was I really loving myself? Or was I just doing the cliche
No,
just because everybody else was saying it? You really have
that
to
was a
mean
cliche.
it. Yes, really
You have
have
to
to mean
mean
it.
it and you have to put the work behind it. The work
Yes,
behind it means adding your why. The work
yes.
behind it means what are you doing every day? What are you doing when those thoughts come up that do not align with you loving yourself? What
Mm-hmm.
practices are you partaking in? Are you embracing negative experiences because it's easy to kind of shy away from dealing with what you're actually facing? Or are you
Yeah,
willing to put the mirror up? What is it
yeah.
that you're willing to do? Because, like you said, after so long, you can't keep pointing the finger. After so
Yes.
long, you have to figure out, okay, my mentor, Gerard McClendon, once taught me, so now what? Okay, yep, that may be
That's it.
true. You're hurt. That person hurt you. Okay.
Mhm,
But so now what? What's next? What are you going to do about that? And
mhm,
I have this conversation with people a lot. I forget love. I'm done with love. Love hurt me.
mhm,
I'm like, you know what? We need to help change that perspective because
mhm,
love didn't hurt you. Someone who
mhm,
did not know how to love you hurt you. Someone who was
mhm.
incapable of knowing how to love you and was doing the
Yes.
best that they could, they didn't love themselves either, didn't
Mhm.
love you correctly.
Exactly.
Someone who refuses to love and is just out there for, ulterior motives hurt you.
Mhm.
However, love did not hurt you. Love
Exactly.
heals. Love
And that's what
forgives.
it's supposed to do.
Love helps. Love has saved me over and over and over again, which is why I will absolutely never give up on love and always
Mhm,
forgive love.
mhm.
Even being divorced, people are like, oh my God, how do you even, feel like you want to do that again? Because I can and I am, and my husband is on his way. Okay. That's
There
why
you go.
I will
There you go.
always believe in love.
Speak it into existence. I know that's right.
Yes, it's
I
my
love that.
superpower.
Right.
Yeah, it's my
And
superpower.
I think that's what we have to have, Shartia. I think what we're seeing now in this world right now is nothing that we haven't seen before. But we
Right.
have the tools and the resources to combat it, right?
Mm,
And one of those things is through love, right? And so I
that's
think
it.
if we continue to have that conversation about love and how we portray that love to other people, it makes a big difference. I remember it's this not last couple weeks ago, I had a conversation with somebody and I was on the phone with them. And
Hmm.
I won't tell the whole full story, but they didn't realize I was a woman of color. And they made the comment that
That's
we were
interesting.
talking healthcare, and I was like, yeah, healthcare is ever changing. You have such a diversity in healthcare, and they said something to the effect, well, I will never let someone of color touch me in healthcare.
Oh,
And so I had, sometimes you had to be like, did I really hear that? Maybe I didn't hear that.
did they just say what I think they
Did
just
they just
said?
say that? Hmm. And
Right.
so I kept indulging on the conversation, and I was like, oh, okay. I said, so if I was to tell you that I was a colored woman that you were speaking to, would you hang up on me, or would you continue to have this conversation as it relates to your health? Because I'm not touching you. I'm only speaking to you. And they's like, well, I know you're not colored. "Hmm,
Wow.
well, I am very much so colored."
Serious?
And And it just blew me away because the next question I said to them, I said, in that case, does love have a color?
Ooh, ooh, that's deep.
And what they
That-
said to me was, well, no, it's colorblind. I said, so then healthcare should be colorblind for whoever's saving your life, because I am
That's
a
it.
woman of color.
As it should be.
So I say that to say, in this world that we're living in, it should always be colorblind. Love has no color.
It
If I'm
doesn't.
standing in the gap for you, color should not matter.
It does not. I was raised in Palatine, and I tell this story a lot. I
Yeah.
was raised in Palatine, which is a predominantly Caucasian city, and some of the most love I felt has been from a person who's Caucasian. My first best friend was Caucasian. I still talk to her to this day. She met me day
Hmm.
one. You know, it's
Yeah.
because of her that I was able to play in some basketball games and why I got rides home. And
Hmm.
she stood for me at times. You know, I always tell
Hmm.
people, if you us, what color are we gonna bleed? We all gonna bleed the same
Yeah.
color?
The only
Okay,
thing is
well,
gonna change a different color when it hit the ground, but when the air hit, but when in your veins, it's still red.
that's it. And my
Yeah.
mom told me a story. I don't know the details, so don't quote me, but something happened with a Caucasian man, I believe, was about to have surgery, and it was like he needed a kidney or something like that.
Mhm.
He made it to the hospital, found out that the doctor was of color, and was like, "He is not touching me." Something happened where the kidney didn't take. He got sicker or something like that. He might have even passed away. I don't remember all the details, but long story short, there was a lawsuit, and he tried to sue the hospital, they're like, this is what you chose. The doctor was of color, you know. And then when he asked for a different doctor, that doctor that was of his same race was like, I'm not doing this surgery. This is the doctor who was assigned to you. You're either going to have this doctor or you're not going to get the surgery. And he tried to sue,
Mhm.
you know. And it's like,
Mhm.
what is going on, y'all? Like, we are all in this, we're in a fight together right now,
Yeah,
and we
we
all
are.
got to have our due and just put our arms around each other and exude
Yeah.
as much love as possible, because um, death has no respecter of persons.
Yeah.
These illnesses have no respect of persons. Yes, each situation can be different. Some people might have a more viable chance to live based on their social economic status and all of that. Yeah, if we want to dive deep, but I'm just speaking generally.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a birth date and a death date. We
Yep.
all come here and leave the same way. So
Exactly.
it's just, a matter of what you choose to love. Love is a
Yeah.
choice.
It is.
You
It's a
know,
choice.
love is a decision. Love
Yes.
is something that you have to. So when people say, oh, the grass is greener on the other side, no, the grass is greener where you water it.
Yeah. And that's
That's
and
where the
that's
grass
that's the
is
key.
at.
That's the key. And here's the deal: when you say that, Shartia, opportunity to be able to water the grass is your choice. You can
Come on,
either flourish in it or let it go brown, which is your choice, right? So it's always a choice. And so I
always.
think I think having the ability to exude that to someone else. And it was interesting after I had the conversation with this particular person, she called back and didn't she couldn't remember, she just remembered partial of my name, but I knew who she was talking about. And she
Mhm.
literally, I guess the granddaughter or somebody was sitting next to her when she was having this conversation. And she
Ooh,
called back and apologized for what they had said. And I said, no, what I need you to do as somebody who has the ability to understand the difference, I need you to teach her. Teach her. If you can't teach her, continue to grow in who you are. And then once you
that's
grow
it.
and see the difference, then maybe she will change. But it sounds like she's
And
stuck in her ways.
what's amazing about that though is that, and it kind of reminds me of my own book, is that we have to get above the miseducation. We have to get above the I've always done it this way, that it's right
Mhm.
because I say it's right. It's right
Mhm.
because I'm an adult. Because these
Mhm.
babies are here teaching. Honey. If
Yeah.
you're willing to learn, these babies out here teaching, baby, because my son has taught me so much. And I
Mhm.
give honor and I'm grateful because he has taught me so many lessons. There are times that
Mhm.
he pulls my tail and I'm right, you right, son. You right.
Mm-hmm.
You right. You right. I'm with you when you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I am. And we have to be willing to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And these children are learning from adults.
Yeah.
This is a sidebar, but my niece was at school this week and they started breaking off and they were playing like truth or dare or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a truth or dare in that type of like
Yeah.
physical way, back in
Mm-hmm.
the day or whatever. But this
Mm-hmm.
it's in a predominantly Caucasian school, and one of the students who were Caucasian dared her to say the N-word. So when I tell you I was on fire, we was on all kind of fire this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, the school did handle it in a sufficient manner. However, it's not that child. Where is
Nope.
he getting it from?
Exactly.
So to your point, we have to start thinking better. We have to start just choosing love and not just choosing things because they were quote unquote passed down. It's the way
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather thought. It's the way my great grandfather thought. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, mean and I'm going to treat people
Mm-hmm.
like this because of what happened before me. But what do you feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you have a mind of your own. You have the
Absolutely.
ability to make choice, as we say, choices to do things differently. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that if you step outside the lane, you're gonna get hit. You might have the ability to be able to cross the street without getting hit.
Right. And you might be able to cause and be the catapult for change that is necessary.
Yeah.
Because one thing is for certain, and two things are for sure. There are a lot of people out here that are not following their hearts, which is why I believe in
Mm-hmm.
love and why I always
Mm-hmm.
follow my heart as much as
I
possible.
agree.
There are people out here that are dating people who they don't like, and there are people out here who are not dating people that they really like. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because of
Mm-hmm.
what someone
Mm-hmm.
thinks, because of what
Yeah.
someone would think if it were to be this way. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
same way for us standing for things. It's all about love. It's rooted in love. You don't
Yes.
think you actually love people of color. You like the culture. You like the food, you like the dress, you like the this, you like the dance. You actually
Mm-hmm.
have a friend that's like that. But because you're afraid to stand up for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
don't, and then you treat people a different type of way. Well, until we learn to embrace the true foundation of what love is and what that looks like, it starts
Mm-hmm.
with the confidence within. And when
Yes.
you have that confidence, then you can stand in love and then you can be exactly who you are, whatever that looks like. I
Yes, I
always tell
agree.
people, I go with heart. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what your skin looks like. I don't care how tall you are,
Mm-hmm.
short you are, how much weight you weigh, what's in your bank account. You could be negative and you could be overly positive in your bank account. It is
Mm-hmm.
about heart. How do you
Yes.
treat me? How do you make me feel? Do I feel safe
Mm-hmm.
around you? Are you a
Mm-hmm.
safe space for me? Are you
Mm-hmm.
consistent or are you using me? All of
Mm-hmm.
these things fall into the space of making sure that you own who you are, that you love who you are, so you don't go people pleasing and
Mm-hmm.
allowing people to use you and abuse you. Set your boundaries, right?
I do.
And until you do that for yourself, you can't do it in any other space,
I,
and so that's why I start with you, right?
yeah. I will say I've had the opportunity, like I said, to read all of your love letters, and as I said before, I've always said, I remember you asked me, well, how much words can I use? And I'm like, well, Shartia, okay, write how you feel. And and I tell people all the time, a lot of people in this book are not quote unquote published authors, right? Well, they will be now once the book come out. But
Right.
these are people who have gone through whatever they've gone through. As I said, we have people that have been in this. This is their second time around, and I've seen the evolution from their first book, from their first entry in the last book, and this one, and the evolution of what they have gone through. And so when I read yours, I was like, "Well, all right, girlfriend. I don't know what to say, but you put it on paper, and I thank you for it. And so, if you have, do you have it by chance? Because I've asked everybody to kind of read a little bit pieces of their story, so people can
Okay.
kind of understand where you're coming from. Again, everybody has a different story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell, and everybody's in
Mhm.
different lanes or different times in what they're going through. And so I've always asked that you read it for yourself because it's your voice and it's your words. And I always say, Writing is a way of leaving your own legacy, because
Mhm.
nobody can take that away from you. It is in your own words, and it's coming from you and from your heart. So if
Yeah.
you don't mind reading just a little bit of it, and let the people know what was in your heart, and when you wrote this beautiful love letter.
Sure. I will these two pieces, and I'll answer a question with each of these.
Okay.
See, I always knew God gave me love automatically. However, I didn't realize that I had to learn how to receive it. Loving others is great. However, this love is compromised when we try to give it away before fully embracing it for ourselves. We can't successfully offer what we don't have. When this happens, that effort of love may be abused and we can feel drained from the process. This is why embracing love for yourself is imperative. And that part is really key to me. Again, I don't want to keep reiterating, but I didn't know that I needed to love me properly in order to love somebody else. I just knew that I love and I wanted people to feel that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love people better because I love myself. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying you can't love anyone at all. I'm just saying it's definitely not going to be in the 90%, 100% era. You might 10, 20, 30%. But if we think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we
Mm-hmm.
have to satisfy ourselves first and love
Yes.
ourselves before we can begin to branch out to the different communities and other spaces that we are part of.
Mm-hmm.
And so um that piece is very, very key to me. And your
Yeah.
second question, did I answer the first one?
Yeah, you answered it. So what I want to ask you when you said that, when did you when did you know that you loved yourself properly?
Ooh. I knew that I love myself after going through the process. It's a long story about like how I realized in the moment I literally realized the moment I knew I didn't love myself. I remember that, like, period. I remember that moment when I looked in the mirror and could not recognize myself, literally. Um, so the moment I started to love myself was when I realized that I had an unexplainable feeling of peace in the middle of a storm, a love storm, like a storm where I'm losing this, we're breaking up, it's not what is happening. But in the middle of that, I
Mm-hmm.
found peace because I was finding me. I was
Yeah.
loving me. I was spending time by myself. I didn't have to be out. I didn't have to go out every 5 seconds and try to go do different things because I'm a dancer. So dancing saved my life. So a lot of times I go dance. If I'm feeling away, I need to go dance, right? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to go. I could sit with myself and be at peace. I didn't feel like I had to have someone around me to validate me. When I had that sense of peace, when all hell was breaking loose in my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I was like, oh my God, like I
Yeah.
love me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can go and take myself out on dates. Like I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do
I
it
go to
too.
by myself all the time. If I want something to eat, I'll go sit and eat by myself. I
Mm-hmm.
go places all the time. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like, there was a time that I couldn't.
Yeah.
There was a time that I needed
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Hey girl, you want to meet me? Now people are like, you went by yourself? I'm like, if I know the security guard and I know I'm safe,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person also real talk, because I'm crazy too, y'all. I'm real crazy for fun. Um, I don't like necessarily organizing meeting up with people sometimes, because sometimes I take a little longer and sometimes I don't want to stay the whole time. So if
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with any of that, guess what? I'm gonna just pop in and pop out and do what I do. But
Mm-hmm.
I realized that when I was in that place of peace and everyone was worried about me, after going through the struggle, after going through the place of depression, after going through the therapist, after losing weight and not knowing I was losing weight, after being in that place of in turmoil, because a lot of times we inflict that on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Self-infliction. Yeah.
I started having peace about me and loving the skin I was in. Like, well, wait a minute, I am beautiful. Hold on,
Mm-hmm.
feeling unbeautiful this whole time. You mean
Mm-hmm.
5'10" is amazing? Hold on, let me love on this tall sister. Hold on, let me get my
Exactly.
stuff together. Because people can tell you you're beautiful a million
Mm-hmm.
times. My mother told me I was beautiful every day. So I don't want
Mm-hmm.
it to seem like, oh, nobody was in her life. No, my
Mm-hmm.
mother told me that every day. But until I believed it, it didn't matter.
It made no
That
sense. It didn't dawn on you that it
it
was
didn't
you.
matter.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I agree with you, Shartia. I think it like I said, in this book, we've had so many people on different journeys and different paths, and being able to understand the difference between the healing and the trauma, and understanding how do I get through it.
right.
And what you said was having to go through the storm. We all have to go through the storm. And
Ooh,
I always tell people, I remember when I had my stroke, and God said to me, just as I'm talking to you, Shartia,
wow.
asked him, I said, Lord, why would you allow me to go through have this stroke?
Mm.
And I just said, I cannot do this any longer. And he says, do you think I want you to suffer?
Ooh,
I
come
said,
on with
Lord,
that.
and I was like, Lord, no, I don't. He says, so sometimes you have to go through the storm.
Mm.
That doesn't mean I have to go through the fire. That doesn't mean you're going to get burned.
That's the ooh. Come
And
on,
so
you
at
better.
that point, I realized that my story had to change.
Yep.
And when my story changed, my whole actions about myself changed. And
Yes.
so you now see a rebirth of what life looks like after
That
death.
is it. That is it. And I love that you use that word because I feel like you really have no idea how much of a blessing. I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm such a
Mhm.
God.
I'm a crybaby too, so don't cry, please.
You when you asked me to be a part of this project, it made me feel like you saw me.
I
And
did.
even though I love myself, I need people to understand that we too go through moments of trials. Motivational speakers, authors, those who love themselves, we go through trying times. And
Mhm.
I thank you for reaching out for me and letting me know that you saw me in a place that I was in transition. The end of 2024 was very, very tough for me,
Yeah.
even the beginning of 2025. And so the fact that God has been showing up and showing out through his earthly angels, and you being one
Mhm.
of them, and allowing me to be an advocate for my book and an advocate for my writing, and hearing me and not judging me because I'm passionate. I really appreciate you for that, because some people take my passion as an inability um to be kind, and it's not that. It's just that I like to put out the best. If someone is going to ask me to do something, I don't have anything. I wouldn't have
Mhm.
said yes if I was going to do that. And so
Mhm.
I just thank you for really seeing me and lifting me. And you didn't even know, in a time that I was in a transition, I was in a shedding of one layer of skin and a rebirth, as you
Mhm.
mentioned. And I'm still in that rebirth, and it's
Mhm.
happening, and I'm in a wonderful space right now.
Mhm.
Um, but when you embark upon these things in life, God will tell you who is for you. He will tell you who is not for you. I'm
Yes.
sure that as you went through your stage, when you were ill for the moment, that he showed you some things, and you probably have some people that you will never talk to again, and not in a
Yes.
bad way. Just, hey,
We
it's
outgrow
just
each other.
change. We have moved to a different level, not one
Yes.
better than the other, just a different level. I'm here,
Mhm.
you're there. And that's what God is doing with me. And he's showing me these are the people you can trust. These are the
Mhm.
people that have your back, because I want people around me that are going to help me grow, not be yes people.
Yes.
I want people around me that I can have hard conversations with. I
Mhm.
want people around me that aren't afraid to be vulnerable. That if I
Mhm.
walked out of a room, I know my name is safe in that space. Not that I
Yes.
have to think, is this person going to be hating on me, or
Yeah.
try to pull me down, or what I mean. And so you
Mhm.
just really came through and asked me to write about my most favorite topic in a very trying time in my life. My
Mhm.
favorite topic you invited me to write about. And it's
Mhm.
so interesting because, Dr. C, I haven't even written about it yet. Like
I
everyone's
mean,
like, when is your love? This is all you talk about. And I'm like,
mhm,
well, I'm doing things the way God asked me to do them.
mhm,
My other books have been just following me in my life. When God says
mhm,
love is going to be the fourth one, which it probably will be, because
mhm,
love is four. I always talk about 1, 4, 3, and four is the love part. And my next book
mhm,
will be my fourth book. So
mhm,
it's probably going to be that one. But I just sometimes you have no idea how timely, you know, you can be,
mhm,
and you were very, very timely
mhm.
in DC. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm part of your anthology. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so excited. I'm honored. And, it was my first time,
But I
you
will
know.
tell you, Shartia, I knew that God had called me to be in your space when we were in DC before. When you left, and we're gonna wrap you up because it's almost time, but we can
Okay.
talk together. But what I will say to you, God doesn't do anything. He does it for a reason. He does it intentionally. But the
Yes,
day
it
that I had to sit on that suitcase for you, God spoke to me. He says, you need to
is.
be in this space for her, to be her
Mm,
sister at this point in time. And so when
honey.
God spoke to me, we have to listen to his voice and understand his reasonings for what we
Yeah.
do and how we do it. I always tell people what I do in this movement is not about me. My publishing company is not about me. It's about what God has given to me, because he took me out of
Right.
here to let me know that he is real. And so
Yeah.
everything that I do is intentional. Everything that
Yeah.
I touch is intentional, but it's guided by him. So when it
Yes.
was time for me to sit on that suitcase for you to get
Honey.
you to Chicago, God spoke to me and
Thank
said,
you.
she's not ready
Yeah.
now, but when it's time, you will know. So the first thing I said, let me go find Shartia. So it was
Oh,
not just because, it was because God said do it. And so
he knew.
you continue to do what you do, my sister. Do it in the best way possible. Do it with love.
You.
As you say,
I
Shartia
do.
Love Jones, you
I
doing a
do.
thing, my sister. And I'm so
Thank
proud of you.
you.
I'm proud of what you're bringing to the table. I'm proud of what you're going to do. God is putting you in a place where nobody can pull you down. You on a pedestal, sister, and we're looking at you because we're proud
Oh,
of
I
you.
receive it.
And
I
so I
receive
thank
it.
you for saying yes to being able to tell your story. And guess
Yes.
what? We are never going to forget Shartia Love Jones, because you
Mm,
got
mm.
something that's going on along with your other sister
Thank
in crime that's getting ready to come up behind you, Miss Torrie Q. Jones. So I thank you, my
Come
sister,
on,
for
Jones, sister.
I'm
Yes.
so grateful for you. I'm grateful for this talk tonight. And we will not end this talk. We're going to continue as long as God has given me breath in my body. This is not the last chronicle. This is a movement. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, spreading love and allowing people to know that they're not by themselves, that they have
They are.
sisters like Shartia and like Tori and like Mark and
Yes.
Shanita, and we have a boatload of people that are here to
Yes.
support. And so as long as I have a platform to do that, I'm going to continue to do it. So I thank you, my sister,
I
for
love
taking
it.
talk to me tonight and sharing your story with us. And I'm hoping that people will that your story will resonate in their spirit and that they will go out and get this book. But I will show the book before the end of this podcast, so people will be able to do it. It will go live. It'll be out May 21st, which is in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. But
Hey, I
thank
am
you, my
too. Congratulations.
no,
Congratulations.
congratulations to you all. This is y'all thing. This is y'all thing. Y'all
This
are
is our
contributing to the love
thing.
movement. So I'm so
Hey.
excited. So I am excited about you, my sister. So we can talk all night long, but I just wanted to tell you I love you and thank you.
I love you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. So
I love
we
you
will
more.
talk to you soon, my sister. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. So that was Miss Shartia Love Jones, my beautiful, beautiful sister. She is a phenomenal spirit, and I tell you, she has done. I've seen some evolution in her, and I know when I get this next book coming out, which will be book 4, she'll be a part of that, and we'll see the evolution in her story and her journey. But we have another Jones sister coming up, another Miss Torrie Q. Jones. I met Miss Torrie in DC at the Dr. Rhonda Lawson's event last year. And And we met up again this year, this past February. So she is a part of this book. So I am equally grateful for her to come on to tell her story and give a little bit background story on herself and her love letter. So without further ado, we're going to bring on the Jones #2, Miss Torrie Q. Jones. Hello, beautiful. How are you? I can't hear you, darling. You know this technology is terrible, but God is good because she's gonna bring him right back on. This story is not going to end, but we're gonna wait for Miss Torrie to come back on. But while we're waiting on her, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the actual book again. Oh, she's back. So let's see if we can get her back in.
You
Miss
see, I
Torrie.
pressed the button and it kicked me out.
See, I told God, you know, the devil is busy on all levels, but I said God is in control of this. We knew you were gonna come right on back. So how are
That's
you,
right.
my
So how you
beautiful?
doing? I'm all right. I won't complain. I can,
Good.
but I'm all right. I won't complain. I won't.
What's the
That's a
likelihood
blessing
of
to be
having Jones?
alive.
Hey, I know that's right. But I was saying, what is the likelihood of having two Jones sisters? Boy, I tell
Hey,
you,
I know, right? I
right
feel like Shartia is my cousin from up that way. I
up
swear.
that
'Cause,
way. I know
yeah.
that's right.
She's from Chicago area, so I know my grandmother.
Mm.
She used
Yeah,
to
I'm
be up
originally from Chicago, so we have something in
there.
common there too.
Really?
The
Okay.
west side
See.
of Chicago, sure am. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I told her I want to go up there and visit. I've never been.
Yeah, it has changed quite a bit, but it's still a beautiful city. It's still a beautiful city, packed with so much culture and so much diversity. So you will love it. So I was telling the audience that we met for the first time at Dr. Rhonda Lawson's event in DC, and we had such an amazing time together.
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
last year we had a
yeah,
good time. Really
last year
blessed.
we met right
Mhm.
before we went into Barnes and Nobles, and I'm telling you. Good gracious, my goodness. We had such a great time and we've stayed connected since then. And I am
Mhm.
so grateful, as I said to Shartia, I'm so grateful that you took on the invitation to say yes, to be a part of this anthology. I keep saying it, I'll say it until I'm blue in my face. This is a movement. This is something that has to be talked about, especially again in this time and age and time that we're in right now. We have to spread love. We don't have no other choice. You know, we cannot go backwards. We need to continue to move forward. And so I'm so grateful that you took the time out to kind of talk to us about who you are. I'm gonna stop talking, but I want the audience to know who Torrie Q. Jones is, and then we'll talk a little bit about your love letter.
Well, I first want to say thank you for even inviting me because this is my first collaboration. So I am very, very happy that I was included in this. So that's number one. Number two, I am a two-time published fantasy author. I have two books out now, Sun and Luck, of Reborn the Book series. See,
I
the
see.
merch
Plug
always
your
on.
sister
So
marketing. Yes.
yes, always. I have the new book coming out, which I have not announced it yet, but I'm giving you special privileges where I'm announcing it on July 25th, 25. You're going to be getting book 3,
Yes.
Moon, part of Reborn the Book series. So I'm excited about that.
Congratulations. I tell people all the time that your genre is different and
Yes.
you don't see a lot of us in this genre. And
Well, that
so
was the whole point of me writing. To be honest, that's why I started to write it. I never thought of myself to write and be an author or anything. I just feel like now I got a dope ass story to tell, and I'm gonna continue telling it.
yeah, and guess what? We're going to continue to read it and support you because
Yeah.
you need to be heard, right? You have a voice and you need to be heard. And so I said with Shartia that we all are in a different stage in our lives in a journey. And
Mm-hmm.
when I approached you in DC about doing this, it was like, yeah, I was like, yes, like, okay, she's on board. But tell the audience why you decided to be a part of this anthology. You said this was your first collaboration, but what drew you to wanted to do your love letter? Because I've asked this question so many times to people. Have you ever written a love letter to yourself? And the first thing people say, well, yep, I wrote it to my boyfriend. I did. My kid is never to themselves.
No, I've never written one to myself, but when you approached me about it, it was more of me wanting to learn what's going on with me right now. I could honestly say, cousin Shartia, I am loving where she is right now.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to be able to get there. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Life is fucking life. Okay. So, for me, it was more like, what would I want someone to say to me to encourage me? And technically, I shouldn't even be looking at no one to encourage me. I should be looking at myself, because sometimes you are all you have. And I have been through some things in the past couple of years where I do feel like, shit, I'm all I got right now. So I wanted to talk to myself.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to have those self-reflections, taking that mirror and really looking and diving in deep. And as you said, sometimes we're our only cheerleaders.
Yes.
Right. And so
our real ones, yeah.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, having the ability to put pen to paper and have that conversation with yourself, putting it on paper and being able to go back and look at it is an amazing thing.
You don't know how many times in the past 2 weeks I have read that letter to myself. I have. It has gotten me through the past couple weeks. Some things going on, but I do appreciate that, and I can't wait to read the others, to be honest, because I know this is going to be an inspiration. I know this is going to be something that's going to help all of us, regardless of where you are in your life.
I would agree. As I sit back and look at my love letter that I did for myself, and I see the evolution of what I have come through. And my story, my journey is not over. I have moments where, as they say, relapse, and you'd be like, ooh, depression. I've had the depression, and I've had the moments where I didn't eat, or I felt like I was less than, and I felt like nobody understood who I was, and all I was playing this role, and I felt like I was an imposter because I was living this life that wasn't really not my life. It was living it for someone else, not for me. And so I had to get to that point where I had to say, enough about everybody else. I need to turn the spotlight on me and understand who Calinthia is.
Seriously.
And I had to really dig deep in the sense that I had to go back to the kid, the kid in me, and relive some things that I didn't even know that was buried so deep. So when you say you've gone back and read your story in the last 2 weeks, that's evolution in the fact that you are realizing that I needed to read this again.
No, right? Seriously. And it's funny that you just said that, how you have to go back sometimes and try to get through the past stuff and try to live through that. You know what I'm saying? And it's bad because I can honestly say past couple of weeks, something personal happened, and it brought back a lot of older feelings and older situations that I thought I forgot and, wasn't putting energy into. But when some information got back to me recently, and unfortunately it affects myself and my family, it's just like, okay. I can honestly say I'm happy I'm not my old self. I didn't react how I would have reacted. Not so calm person. I'm glad that I didn't. It's funny how God puts you in certain situations, and I do feel like it was meant for me to go through it today, because I know if I would have went through it then, I don't know if I would be sitting here talking to y'all. Like, for real. I don't know if I would be sitting here talking to y'all. So, even though I still had to process it, and now I still have to process this information and situation, I'm glad I was able to ingest it as a more mature Torrie, because I don't know if I would have been able to handle that when I was 25.
Growth is such a wonderful thing. I tell people all the time, if you're not growing, you're stagnant. And you never want to be stagnant. You want to be able to I always say, I tell people the rearview mirror is there for a reason.
For a reason. And for a reason. And I feel like that's what this book helped me with too, because I have a bad tendency of still, when I go through stuff, I do try to sit back, but I have a tendency of just keep going forward. My mom had this saying, put an H on your back and handle it. And I like the saying, but something that I also learned that what I didn't understand, you still got to deal with that shit. You can handle it, but you got to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, it's going to just keep growing and growing and growing. And eventually it may turn into something toxic. You may end up spazzing out. You might end up getting sick. Like, remember, like your body, last year, with the episode that I had, the health scare that I had. So, that I'm still dealing with, my hands just healed. I just went to the doctors and my 2 fingers just healed, so, I'm learning to deal with my stress just a lot better. I am. I'm also learning that it's okay to ask for help, because I don't. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, I don't. I'm learning to say it's okay that you're not okay.
Yes, ma'am. And we say that all the time.
I'm not okay right now. You don't know how bad I almost texted you earlier to tell you, I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to smile.
And then I'm going to call you and say, no,
I know you would have, and that's why I didn't text you that bullshit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. That's why I didn't even text you that bullshit. Like, that's why I was like, no. Girl, look, I remember saying to my cousin, like, I better put my happy face on and
let's go ahead. Exactly.
Right. So,
but it's interesting that you're in a position now, Torrie, to be able to recognize those signs. Like I was telling Shartia, we're all in a different space. Everybody is, have their own story to tell as it relates to where they are in their lives, right? Everybody is not, it's not all peaches and cream. We all are going through a whole lot of things. And the thing about it is, this is the reason why I have these books out here, because I want people to know that they're not by themselves, that everybody might be going through some traumas. Somebody might be coming out of trauma. Somebody might be going through it and coming back out, and vice versa. It's never the same. Everybody has a different story to tell. But these love letter chronicles are there to help people, to let them know that they're not by themselves. And we want to let them know that we're here to support. I remember I gave this book to, I'm not going to tell the name of the person I gave it to them. And I remember giving it to them because I'm a person that watches people and kind of know when something is not right. And I remember going to this person and I just said, it's going to be okay. Right now, you're going through what you think is just never ending, but it will end. And I remember taking her my book, the anthology book from last year, and I gave it to her. And in that book, it gives you the ability to write your own letter, and it gives you details. And then in this book too, it gives you the ability to write your own love letter too. It tells you about healing and trauma and what you need to do. And so I gave it to her. And about a month or two later, she brought it back to me. And inside the same book that I gave her was a letter for herself.
That is so dope. Do you see? That is so dope. And I promise you, she's going to pay it forward by telling someone how much your book helped them. And it has nothing to do with them even purchasing your book or nothing. Just the fact of that part of that helped her heal to where she's going to explain how that helped her. So
right, and
that's
it's about the journey of starting that process,
right.
having those tough conversations to say, you girl, you don't look right. Come on, let's have a conversation. Sit down, let's vent, let's talk. I'm just gonna listen to you. Sometimes you just want somebody to listen to what you're going through. You might can't solve, as we said, world hunger and solve everything that's happening right now, but we're
Right.
here to listen empathetically and sympathetically, understanding that your journey is your journey, but I'm here to support you. And sometimes in that journey, it's just sitting and listening and letting them know that you're there. And so I'm glad that you decided to come on and share your realness about what's going on, that I'm not okay, and that it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to ask for the help. And sometimes I think for her, what she told me was it was her pride that kept her from allowing herself to ask for the help. And it's okay. It's
I'm
okay.
wondering if that's what it is with me too. I don't know. Yeah, it probably is. I don't like asking for nothing because I feel like people be having an agenda a lot of times.
But
So
sometimes you have to stop thinking it's the agenda pieces of it. It's people that are really out here that are really for you. And I'm gonna tell you, they come in forms where you don't even know that they're supposed to be there.
I know y'all was surprised the past couple of years. My author circle is so awesome. I can honestly say that. From you, Dr. Lawson, Shartia. Um, I really feel like even my the Love Jones Alliance, our class, the class that I did with Shartia, oh my gosh, that class helped so much that I didn't realize that it would have. And I even some of the breakdown of the things that we never understood that bothered us as adults from what we went through as kids, like, oh my gosh, like it was some things that just popped up in my head that I thought I forgot about, or that I thought you deal with. So it's like, oh my gosh, wow, like, okay, I'm really dealing with this now. I didn't deal with it before. Like I said, my mom was big on that, put an H on your back and handle it thing, but I don't think we learned how to deal with things, because we were at a point where we just, sometimes where I come from, you ain't got time to deal with it. You just got to live.
And so now, and you know what is interesting in this time and day and age, I've said this so many times on different platforms and different arenas that I've been in. We as a people, we're the first one to say, I'm not doing no therapy. What happens in the household stays in the household.
Oh no, we need therapy.
Right. What happens in the household stays in the household, and guess what? The house blows up.
Hello, for real. Right? No, seriously.
And it becomes generational because you don't know how to deal with certain things. And so I am a big proponent of, please go to therapy. It works. When you work therapy works for you. So you have to be able to stop saying it costs too much and I don't have the money. It's called investment in yourself. And
yeah, so it's just expensive. Like, it should not be that expensive. I'm gonna be honest with you. I get that and I hear what you're saying, but it should not be that expensive. Like, seriously, everybody talk about how mental health is important and shit, but you sitting here telling me I gotta pay you $3.75 an hour. Like, I get it. Like, are you serious?
Now that's expensive. Now I ain't never seen $3.75 an hour, but
$2.75 an hour, $2.50. Like, that's still expensive. Like,
I've never heard of that high. But
yeah,
I'd agree. We really need to have the ability to have mental health with COVID. And I tell people
affordable mental health. But exactly. I also feel like we need to also learn how to utilize our resources.
Yes.
There's a few resources that I found with my job. So I'm going to make sure that, and I still have a good relationship with my therapist that I have. So I can't see her all the time, but when I definitely pull some funds together, we definitely have a conversation. And you know what I mean? So I do feel like people, from where I come from, the inner city kids, I do feel like we all suffer from PTSD and we definitely should all have therapy due to the fact of the environment that we grew up in.
Yeah. But that's what Mark was just saying, about the childhood traumas and really dealing with, because you're bringing it into your adult life now. And so being able to deal with it on the level. And that's why I said I had to go back. I had to remember about what my life wasn't bad, but I had some things that I needed to deal with in order to understand how I could be a better person for me, and then be
Right.
a better parent to my children. And
That's
when
right.
you're talking about being a better parent, I have boys. So it's a different look for me to
I
be
know what you
able
mean.
to, you understand? So it's a different look for me to have the ability, the tools, and the resources to be able to navigate those waters, not just as a woman of color, but a woman of color with Black
With
children,
black
Black
men that
boys
I'm raising.
that I'm raising. So I
Yeah.
really believe, again, these letters, and you being real, as Mark says, and I love the support. Anytime I have
Thank
anything,
you.
Mark is always there. So thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
he is. He supports everything. I love
He
it. Like
supports
I said, I have a
everything.
dope ass author circle. I really do. And I really, really appreciate y'all. If I don't say it enough, I really do appreciate y'all.
Sometimes you don't have to say it. We already know it. We know your heart. We peeling back the layers of that heart. So I will say, just having the ability to have these circles and these talks about how we navigate the waters of mental health is so important. It's so important, and we have to be real about it. We have to be
Mhm.
honest about how we feel, because you don't ever want to get to the point where you blow up and then it wreaks havoc for generations to generations to generations. We have
Right.
to learn how to, like, again, having these platforms, these books. We also have Pamela Coleman is
Okay.
another advocate for mental health. It's just an extension of what we want to do. And again, I'm going to continue to have these conversations. I'm going to continue to have these books out here because I think it's important. I will say, as a mother, as somebody that also is in healthcare, who's worked the ED, who's seen kids have come in, whose parents had to cut them down from doors because they tried to kill themselves, because trauma has gotten them. We need to have shed light on all of that, because if we don't, we're going to continue to lose some
I'm,
important minds.
oh man, that is so important. Unfortunately, I've been around 2 suicides in my life, unfortunately. And oh my gosh, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Very, very heavy. And
And that's a
we
load that
feel
you should be able to help somebody help you walk you through that. And that's why I say I'm going to continue to have these conversations.
we supposed to. Oh my gosh, we supposed to. And I say we supposed to. Some of
Mm,
us, some of us don't understand that the things that we've been through in our life is not normal.
yeah.
And
We
that
think
we
it is
have been,
normal, right?
because we've been through it and we lived it. So we think that what we've been through is normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know for me sometimes, when I repeat things that I've been through, I jump sometimes because I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's really what I've been like, wait a minute. Like that's what I've been through. I remember just saying to somebody recently about the situation I was speaking about earlier. My life's a freaking movie. Like you cannot make this shit up. Like this is crazy. Like you cannot tell me that I am not one of God's chosen ones. You cannot
You
dare tell me with things that I've been through and the fact that I'm still standing, who I am, where I am, still mentally sane. Well, just a little bit.
Well,
You
that's
know,
okay. A little crazy is not
just
gonna hurt
a little bit.
nobody.
You
But
know,
God has a purpose for you, and you have to remember.
for
We
real.
have had this conversation before, and I tell you all the time, God has a purpose for you, and He has a purpose. You just need to stand in it and understand He's not going to leave you, nor is He going to forsake you. He's got your back every time. So just remember that. And those weights that you're holding on, as you said, you have an author circle that is here to assist you with that. My number should be on speed dial. You should be calling me when you need me, and I would answer. So I'm so grateful that you had the opportunity to write in this book. Do you have the ability to read a little bit of your love letter or your story or your letter in the book? Because I think it's poignant in what we're talking about tonight.
I actually do. I do have it pulled up, and I like the ending. I really felt like you was talking to me for real at the end. I was like, "Ooh, that
Yep.
yeah, that was Dr. C talking to me." I was like, "Okay."
It was me.
I
So look,
know, I know, I know. I saw that, and I appreciate that. So thank you, 'cause I did
you're
see that.
welcome.
I was like, "Ooh, look at her talking to me." Okay, all right. So yes, I'm going to read a portion, and to me, this is just something for me and what I'm going through now. So first, you are not Superwoman, and it is not your fault. It is not your fault that the people you believed in were close to you and betrayed you. It is not your fault for choosing people that did not choose you. It is not your fault that your parents never had a chance to live, nor is it your responsibility to save others from themselves. It is not your job to serve or save the world. However, it is your obligation to save yourself from the procrastination, emotional turmoil, and financial distress.
Now, that was a mouthful. And guess what? I am super proud of you.
Thank you. Don't make me
I
cry.
want you to remember, I'm not, I cry before you cry, but I'm super proud of you because
Thank
we've had long conversations.
you. Mhm.
Long conversations. And when I read your story, I'm not gonna lie, I cried because I see you. I see you, Torrie. I see what you have in you. And I'm never gonna give up. I'm gonna always be there standing in the gap for you. But I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
And I see the evolution in you, sweetheart. And so the next chronicle, the next book 4, I'm gonna see the evolution like it's nobody's business. Because guess what? This, as I told Shartia, God places us in places that we're not even supposed to be in. I wasn't supposed to be sitting on Shartia's luggage, getting her ready to go to Chicago, going back home. But
Oh
I
God.
knew our space and our time was supposed to be there. I knew when I met you last year and we had the conversation and we talked, I knew you were a special being. And God has a plan for you. And never forget that. What you've gone through is what you've gone through, but that doesn't mean that you stay in it. You
Amen.
continue to move and evolve because God is not going to give you nothing that you cannot handle. So I am so proud of you. I am
Thank you.
super proud of you.
Even though you're making me hella emotional right now. You know I'm a thug. Come on.
I know, and guess what? You not no thug. You ain't no thug. That's what you. That's what you
I know
feel.
I'm playing.
But I
I'm
know,
playing. I'm
but I
playing.
know
But
who
yeah.
you are. I know your heart, and I'm so proud of you. And I'm so grateful that you have decided to take on the ownership to take back your life.
Damn right. If I don't do it, who will?
There you go. Now that's the thug in you, Torrie. That's what I'm talking about.
So
Take
I'm
back
gonna
what
do it.
belongs to you.
Watch. I got
Yes.
some. I'm gonna have some good news for y'all. I promise you, I will. I'm gonna have some good news to share.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So maybe over the summer we could do a love letter update.
Well, you know what? I tell people next year, this time, as long as God continues to give me the ability in this platform, we will have a book for it and you'll be able to tell your story yet again because it's
Yes,
your words.
that's
And I
right. Ain't
want you
that the
to be able
truth?
to tell it in your own words. But I'm
Amen.
so grateful for you, Miss Torrie Q.
Thank
Jones.
you.
I'm so proud of you. And I see nothing but greatness coming from you. And when book 4 drops, Moon, in July 25, I am going to be the first one to pull that book. Like I said,
Thank
I'm so proud of you.
you. Thank
Before we
you.
get off this podcast, I know we've gone over, but this is a well-needed conversation. I'm going to bring
Yes.
back your sister, your cousin in crime, Miss Shartia Love Jones, and we're
Woo.
going to exit out this conversation. And so we're going to bring her back. Hello, darling.
Hey, cousin.
Can you take yourself off of mute, darling? I want to show the book so people have the ability to see the beautiful collaboration of people that are in this book. And again, um, it's just been an amazing ride. I always say I'm a crybaby, but these are tears of joy because I know God is pleased with what I'm doing and what I'm doing with these books. And so I want you all to see this cover, and I'm going to put it between all of us. Try to.
I can't wait. Hey,
So that's
Hey,
the
look
book.
at that.
And I am not going to cry. God is good. He is. And I will say, God has allowed me to see another year. Tomorrow is my birthday. So
amen. Happy early birthday, girly.
thank you.
On yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Taurus season in, right?
Big Taurus energy. I
Yes.
was raised by Taurus.
Yes. And so
Me
I am
too.
not.
Me too.
I am not going to cry, but these are, if I do cry, I don't make any apologies for it. It's just tears of joy that God has blessed me to be able to do this 2 years in a row and be able to touch some lives, be able to allow people to see that we're all going through some things. But on the other side, there is joy. There's evolution.
Come
There
on.
is love. There's a lot of things that I'm just so grateful for. And with all these authors that have decided to put pen to paper, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I cannot do this without you guys. Being able to say, I trust you with my heart and put it in a book. So I thank you for making this book a success. If we can reach one to teach one, we've done our jobs. So I thank you so much for allowing me to have this platform to tell your stories. And I'll continue to take them and continue to take them on and spread this love that we need to spread every night, every day. We're in a place where we don't know if we're coming or going. So I thank you for all that you guys have done in this book. And I'm not going to cry. I'm going to be a thug like Torrie. And I'm not going to
We'll
cry.
check this out. Okay.
I'm going to close out this conversation and just let people know it's okay not to be okay. We need to remember to check on our friends that are considered strong because they need to know that they're loved. They need to know that they're important. They need to know that we're standing in the gap for them. And your story needs to be told. And your story should have some resonance in somebody else because we need to save lives. I shouldn't have to hear on the news that somebody has been bullied and now they're no longer here. They're unalived, as they say. So I thank you for joining tonight's conversation and tuning in and seeing the faces of these beautiful authors telling their stories, telling you all that they're in a space that they were not okay. But look at God. He's bringing them on the other side. And as long as I said I have breath in my body, I'm going to continue to have these love letter talks. I'm going to continue to have my platform, which is Allure Publishing, to publish these. And it costs you nothing because that's what God has asked me to do. So I thank you, my beautiful Jones sisters, for your conversations tonight. I thank the previous guests for allowing me to shed some lights on your stories. And before I leave tonight, again, please check on your strong friends. Please let them know that they're loved. I'm going to let you all say your last words, and then we're going to say good night because I am getting ready to get on a plane to Miami tomorrow. So, all right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Dr. C. You have safe travels. I really, really thank you. I truly, truly thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I can't wait to do the next one.
Thank you, Miss Torrie. Miss Shartia.
I'm so full. I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for allowing me to share more of who I am. Our story will be continued, and I just am grateful that you have allowed God to use you in such a way to where you have put your own probably things on hold in order to be to others. And in that space, your things are technically not on hold because God is fulfilling you and filling you up with the things that you would like to see happen in our world. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. Torrie, I'm so proud of you. I love you, my Jones sister. And thank you for bringing up the class. and I appreciate you. So this has been amazing. I'm at my favorite place talking about my favorite topic. So, with a couple of my favorite people, it's a jam. It's a jam right now.
It's a jam. And it's to be
Yeah.
continued. This is not the end of this love letter.
No.
We are going to have another one. And so a year from May 21st of this year, we will have another one, May 21st of 2026. So we can see the evolution in you. And I know that's going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal chapter for both you ladies. God is moving in both of your lives. And so I am so grateful to be a part of that journey with you girls. The Jones girls. I am so proud of you guys. And I look forward to seeing what God is going to continue to do in both your lives. So without further ado, I'm going to say good night because the sister got to pack. But I love you all. Until next time on Creative Conversations with Dr. C, we're going to say good night. Until next time, be blessed. Again, check on your strong friends because they need you.
God bless you. Good night.
Good night.
You are entering the studio.